Good day, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we bring to you a Mazda that has featured on the channel before. This car has taken us to our very first top 10 stars in the human comedy. It has got impressive fuel efficiency and it's got a 4-rotor engine swap. So unfortunately for those of you who aren't level 50 or who haven't got the ticket, this one will be out of your reach for now, but it's something you can aspire to. It is an absolute monster. So as we said, this carries the 787B engine swap. It's the Mazda RX7 Spirit R Type A FD02. There's no longer title. This comes in at 699.02 performance points with a max power of 576 brake horsepower. You can actually have this somewhere around 900 brake horsepower if you want to be running the hard tyres. However, I've fettled and tuned this a little bit and I've still got a slight problem with chunking, what we call probably wheels not clearing the arches or not clearing the body. I've tried to push the car up and bring it down a little bit. However, it's one of those, as we're diving down into a corner with the braking, I believe the front end of the car is just touching the ground. We could stiffen things up a little bit, we could try and iron that out, but it's actually drivable and manageable. So let's take a look at the setup. It's on racing softs, effectively, so that we've got the grip. This car has got immense power, but it doesn't brake very well with the hard tyres on, so we've had to adjust it up for that. Fully customizable suspension. As you can see, we've changed the ride heights to try and get rid of the chunking. So they've changed to 105 and 110. Fully customizable diff, set to 555 to give us that smoother power. Downforce, all of the front, absolutely almost all of the rear, just 2 points inside. We've got front lip, we've got wide wheels, and they aren't the standard wheels. We've got side skirts, no rear valance, but a high wing number 20. It has also got a wide body, which is the first time I've ever wide bodied anything. However, it makes it just that bit easier to drive. It's that bit more stable. You can't undo a wide body. It does cost X amount of credits as well. So again, if you're not level 50, you haven't got access to that, you can't do it. But I would suggest if you do have the standard car without the engine swap, you could potentially put the engine swap in a narrow body car. You just have to fettle the tune. ECU is fully customizable, set to 83. Power restrictor down to 70. We've had to reduce all of it to get it within the PP limits. Fully customizable manual gearbox set to 300. You're going to need that for the speed on the straights. This car will touch 200 mile an hour. We've put the high RPM turbo in. You can take that out and you could go for the fuel economy, but there's not much in it if you don't need it. The reason we've put it on is because you get more power even with the saving of PP points. The silencer racing comes naturally with the engine swap. None of the other options are available. Brake system racing slotted discs and pads. We've put the brake balance controller on. We've got the racing clutch and flywheel, the carbon prop shaft and increased body rigidity installed. Let's go to the track. Welcome to Le Mans. This is the World Touring Car 700. Let's look at the settings. Assist, traction control on, default ABS. ASM on and counter steer assistance on strong, and believe me, I need those today with this car in particular. Controller settings, controller steering sensitivity 5, force feedback max torque 5, force feedback sensitivity 6. I'm working on the G29. Those settings are personal to me. You might want to change them to suit what you do. Okay, honesty policy. Hardest car I've ever chosen to drive without some real tuning and time spent running it. I've run up to the 25 miles just before I get the ticket because I've needed to. I've found this extremely tough. I found it extremely tough to drive when we took it to Deep Forest, when we claimed our first top 10. It is an awesome car. You just need to get it right to how you feel you can drive it. It does still suffer from chunking. I haven't been able to iron it fully out, but we're going to manage it and we're going to get it through it. I don't yet know how it handles the rain, but we've taken the wet tyres. We've got the ability on softs to probably do 3 laps, which we've definitely got the fuel for. So I'm looking at probably a 2-stop, one to take off the softs and one to put them back on. but let's see where we go. I'm really looking forward to this because it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be as fast as it could be. I reckon it'll do around about a 4:05 lap time. As a possibility, if you weren't so diligent about having it cornering and braking as precisely, you could probably get this up into the probably 4:01s, one would say. But let's give it a shot. First thing we do is just take a look at the fuel and make sure it's going. I know the fuel efficiency is there. I know you don't really have to look at it. It's going to do round about 4 or 5 laps depending where it needs to be, but the rain's going to come in and give us a problem with air, I think. You've got to spend a lot of time on the brakes with this car. It will slip and slide even on the soft tyres. You can see the front and the rears are already showing a little bit of wear, and it does turn incredibly well at low speeds whilst on the brakes. Oof. Mr. Cato wanting to give us a little bit. Well, we'll just dispatch him. We're going to take the outside line past Mr. Haywood, Mr. Cookerman. It looks like we're going to get 5 laps out of this. Into the top gear. That dump valve sound as the air's expelled to the air, free air, is absolutely stunning. 190 mile an hour, looking for a braking point, which we're going to be this telegraph pole. On the brakes to brake, it really does turn. We ran it out wide to get the pass made. Up into 8th place, just 10 seconds off the leaders. This could be one of those cars that's in first place by the end of the lap. We might just have to push it just a teeny bit. See if we can brake just a little bit later. Brakes are its weakest point, I would suggest. A little bit of confidence and you'll be doing well. So 8.5 seconds off the leaders. All 4 of them are there in front of us. This car has got exceptional top speed, and without the turbo, if you're going to run it without the turbo, because you have the freedom to if you wish to, this just sings. It's a chorus of angels in your ears. It really is harmonic. But there's a likelihood that your ears might bleed at the end. The ABS, the counter steer, the ASM are all flickering on just as we accelerate. Going to get up into 3rd place now. Mr. Yamanaka can't do anything to resist our advances. This is where we might experience the first level of chunking, so we're just going to break down to 4th into this corner. There's the first chunk. And a little bit through that corner as we carry a little bit too much speed, so it's highly manageable. Just means we've got to slow down a bit. 4th place. We're going to flick the rain radar to where it needs to be. And that's going to be our next level, a bit of information. We should be able to dispatch Mr. Blazan just before the chicane. So there we have it, lap 1 with a 4:04. So it's up there amongst the top 4 or 5 fastest cars we've used. Teeny bit of chunking as we went through there. Mr. Portal are not going to just give us that opportunity. We're going to get them both on the next straight anyway. Oh, we get a penalty, and I don't know what for. I don't know where that penalty came from. Interesting. Well, we could reflect on that and see where we find out. Maybe we stole a bit too much on the entry. Don't know. 190, 192. Well, we're into first place. Going to put the brake balance to the front too. Just try and hold off on the rears. We want to try and get a third lap out of them if we can. If the weather's going to give us a break. We're kind of expecting the weather anytime soon. We're just 1.9 seconds in the lead. Going to brake on the first braking marker. On the braking marker that says it's not too late yet. 2.9 seconds in the lead. Still no rain. I'm watching intently for it. .7 seconds. Those rears will do another, I think. Looks like we're going to get rain top right. I'm going to lift off. Just one bit of chunk in there and it just almost put the car into a slide. Just got to knock that top speed off just that little bit earlier to stop it happening. There it is, rain top left, top northwest quadrant, and from the top of the screen. We need to get an indication of just how strong that rain's going to be. We actually get less notification from a north-south wind rain cloud than we do an east-west. East-west we get a full 100 miles. From the north or south we only get around about 60 miles notification. So it's a bit tougher as we just whacked a wall. We're going to go for lap 3. I've actually been having a bit of a conversation today on text with one of our, I want to say, longer standing viewers. I think that would be the right expression. Lots of feedback, lots of communication about setups, how much he enjoys whatever, but we were talking about the setup I put on the R34. And it's amazing how much flexibility there is in the setup for personalisation and preference. And please don't anybody take any offence at the setups I use. Generally they are done to be quick, easy, to make sure that people understand that this game is very accessible and very understandable. You don't have to put hours of complex work into a setup, but you do if you want to personalise it and make it perfect. By no means are any of these setups perfect. They are just done to be inclusive, to ensure that everybody can have access to it and nothing's difficult. So with this setup, this one I've found to be majorly complex to get drivable, which I've kind of overcome, but I would be more than happy if anybody takes this setup and tweaks it, works on it and makes it their own. You're entitled to wholly do that. We are trying to prove certain things. We're trying to prove that the car is drivable. that it achieves the bonus, the benefits. It wins the race. It puts in a fast lap. Might not be the fastest, but it is certainly capable of doing so. So it looks like we've got rain incoming while I just get off my high horse. It looks like these rear tyres are going to make it to this next pit stop. We will just, as the rain now is just starting to fall, we'll just be a little bit more cautious. We're 17 seconds in the lead. It looks like we've got some heavy rain about to land, so we just need to be a little bit cautious. We're probably going to have to put the traction control on a little bit greater just to resist the wheel spin, and it'll be down here where we feel it really, I think. Well, we've got the grip. I've just buried that throttle and it's liking it. We're about to hit some heavier rain, so we just need to be cautious at the end of here. 18.6 seconds in the lead. Just going to ease off now. Yeah, slower speed, there's no chunking. Let's do it right, let's get it through here without losing it. The rain gauge is telling me that we're almost on a point of having to change tyres to something more usable in the wet. That green rain cloud has passed us by. I don't know whether we're going to change or whether we're going to stay on. All we know is the pit entry and exit are going to be wet, so I think the risk we have to take here is making it drivable, and the rain is really coming down, so I think we're going to change to the wets. Looking at what we've got to come, inters will only give us one lap maybe, and that's what happens. There we go, off the circuit. Well, we've got damage front left and front wing. 24 seconds in the lead, and the car just did something completely unexpected. We were hoping to get back to the pit lane. Let's have a look at the radar. We're gonna need the full wets. That much I can tell. 32 seconds in the lead. There's people spitting off the track, left, right and centre behind us. We're gonna go full wets. Full wets. And we're gonna take, well, we got 4 laps left. If we take 4 laps of fuel, that'll be more than enough. So as you saw, one incident, warts and all, we don't cover it up. It's very difficult to drive this car, in my opinion. So 33.9 seconds ahead. We're waiting for our car to come in. We're normally on the softs, but we're going to change to the full wets at this point. And we're going to take 4.2 laps of fuel, because I think that's what we're going to need. We're not going to use that much. In terms of, we're going to be using less fuel in the wet conditions. The other boys are in the pits behind us now, taking their tyres off. It's going to get wetter. It is wetter than a wet thing on a wet day. Let's see if we can get this car to be able to handle it. I don't think it's the car, I think it's the driver, to be honest. Look at that yellow rain coming in. We've taken the right tyre, I think. We got lots of yellow and green. .42 seconds in the lead. 44. We're just going to give it plenty of room to brake. There's a telegraph pole with a sign on there. There it is. One thing you'll never be able to predict with this race is the rain. It's very treacherous down here most days in the wet. Approaching a minute lead. And that rain is looking like it's becoming ever so much more treacherous as we come blasting down to the bottom end of the circuit. The second chicane on the Mulsanne. Third gear short shift just to try and stop the wheel spin, which didn't work. It looks like the end of the rain clouds are ahead, but it doesn't look like it's the end of the rain just for now. So that last lap was a 4:06, 4:36, which wasn't as quick as the out lap, but hey ho. These wet tyres are coping admirably well. Just got to watch out for this set of corners up here. Just going to brake off early. Just touch the brakes. Just want the car to come round the corner nicely. I'm pretty much assured that we will be doing the next lap on these wet tyres. It also mustn't go unsaid that the skin you saw this car shot in was again produced by JB at JTP Addictions. GTP Addictions. There's my mouth saying things that my brain wasn't thinking. This was one of the skins he brought to the channel way earlier. One of his first presentations. We're going to carry on to lap 2 as we're now well out of the rain. We just want this rain to wholly back off, and when the water gets down into that first level of water depth, we will consider changing tyres. Now it's always extremely wet down this start-finish straight. We've done a couple of spin outs down here before now. One minute 27 seconds in the lead, and it looks like we've got rain coming in again, or at least a showing of rain. Top right hand corner. We do tend to get 2 events per race. I don't know whether these tyres would last all the way to the end. He has to do another 3 laps, 5, 6 and 7. I don't think they will. That rain looks like it's just a showing. I don't think that's going to give us anything more. I don't even think it'll give us a spot. The sun's out, the track's drying. Could be a pit in at the end of this lap for the softies, which wouldn't be a rude thing to do, would it? Just being aware of the water depth as we come round the track. Run a tyre on the wet stuff to just try and take the temperatures down. But the rears are just starting to show. Looks like we're going to be running between some clouds. 1 minute 31 in arrears. No, we're in advance of the rest of the field. Just concentrating very hard, I'm afraid, folks. Track certainly seems to be drying out. Doesn't look like there's a massive amount of threat of rain. If that cloud cover comes over, I don't think it's going to deposit anything major. It's just that little bit wetter down here, just where the trees overhang the track. Just going to back it down a wee bit, just going to give us a chance at these corners here. Yeah, I think it's a pit in and swap for softies at the end of lap 5. I think that's what the information's telling us. One minute 36 ahead of the pack. Just there we had our incident, wasn't it? Yeah, let's go and put some race tyres on. I think that's where we need to be. Just going to make I reckon the entry and exit are going to be quite wet. We don't need any fuel, I don't believe. Let's put those soft tyres on and we don't need fuel. Noisy glass. One minute 37 seconds in the lead, which is quite significant, but they really did struggle in the rain on their race tyres. We got in because we were quicker at the start. We got the opportunity to get in, get out before the conditions really changed. So we're going to put those racing slicks on. We have still got the traction control on 5, so as we come out the pits, I'm just going to coast through this area where the track is wet, and then we'll get back on it. And then for the last lap we'll take the traction control off. We're going to wind the car up over the next lap, get it ready for that final sprint, see if we can put in a really decent lap time. So that dry line has now fully appeared. 1 minute 36 in the lead, but we've got to just be aware that that'll change as Mr. McEwen went to the pit, so that he's taken his inters off, so we could potentially be 1 minute. Oh, it's gone to 1:45. We have massively increased probably because back down to 1:13. It's all over the place. Let's just take a moment to let that settle down. Just avoiding the curbs. It's definitely showing dry down here with nothing on the rain radar. 1 minute and 4 ahead of Mr. Hayward, Mr. Margiano. Dry is almost perfectly dry there. Back to TC1. Loads of fuel. Let's just keep an eye on the weather. Make sure nothing's going to interrupt our plans. Open for a fully dry track at the end of this lap. We want to be able to be absolutely flying. 4 minutes 22 left on the timer. We're going to have to consider the fact that we're going to need to do that final lap, and we're probably not going to be the fastest car to have done the race because of that incident, but it's going to be up there with the quickest. A little bit of chunking. We came into that corner incredibly quick. Well, faster than we had it done. No rain on this rain radar at all. Fastest lap of the race is ours. We're just going to see if we can attempt to go quicker than it. Just getting this car up to speed now. Just finding its limits. And it's highly likely we could just chuck it off the track at some point. There we go, we found a wet patch. And that's the whole point of doing the experimentation at this point. Be nice to finish the race with a checkered flag and a stunning fastest lap. Let's see where we go then. We are 1 minute 16 ahead of the rest of the pack. It's still a little bit wet down the start finish here, but we made light work of that. Just make sure we come through here good. Down to second gear, you get one of those beeps to tell you you've changed down too quickly. The revs are too high. See if we can be smooth through here. No penalties. It's there where I think we got the penalty last time. Just cutting too far in on that curb. Beautifully through there. Just a spot of moisture on the track. You can see it there as we go through the dark and light patches. 1 minute 20 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack, and there's cars on the Mulsanne straight that we could potentially be catching. 185, 190, no 200 today I don't think. 196, 198. Did we brake too late? No, we didn't. We got it in just in time. We felt the tyres just lose traction. Mr. Hayward's gone to the pits. We're a whole second down on a previous fastest lap at this point. See where we can push to. The three cars in second, third and fourth place have gone to the pits. They still had their intermediates on. Wow. We pushed the whole lap on racing tyres, so we're 1 minute 47 ahead. Only 38 seconds on the clock remaining. Mr. Hayward comes through to pick up second place. He is 2 minutes behind. The race clock is just about to tick to the end now. We're just going to brake a little bit early to prevent chunking. He's still got a bit of a chunk. Going through there incredibly quickly. So we find out if we're anywhere near that purple fastest lap. What's it gonna tell us? 7th place is finished. We're good on fuel, that's what it does tell us. A little bit of squirrely back end there. There's nobody in front of us, but they're all finishing the race as they are in front of us. We don't pick up a new fastest lap, but we do finish the race in a 4:07. Well, if we're talking engine swaps, it's pretty decent. It's drivable, you just have to make sure you can deal with that wide wheel and body collision issue. But it's there to be tried, folks. If you have the capability, a 31:27, so a minute slower than some other cars, but I think that comes down to the rain and having to be cautious. It was only a 2-stop. We actually lapped everybody from 6th place down, and we did get the fastest lap of 4:06. For me, not the greatest car out of the bag because it still needs that setup, but it is capable, and that proves it. There is that clean race bonus, and you can see the amount of money that we actually spent there because we're at 22.5 the last race we finished, and we get a 3-star ticket for our rewards. Well, folks, we're going to leave that one with you. That's one for you to try and test. Not my best effort, I don't think, in a drivable setup, but if you can work it, if you can make it go the way it needs to be, that's up to you, and we'll leave that with you. All the best, folks. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being there. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.